Flight boss, bitch. Alright, I want to talk about being in the energy. Being in the energy. Now, we know all energy has a source. So understanding the source of whatever energy or whatever energy signature you're taking form of, understanding the source is always the best thing to do. Because a lot of times, a lot of y'all be taking on energy signatures, especially religious people or people who are heavily indoctrinated. Y'all take on an energy signature and y'all don't even know the source. And then y'all got other entities that play and act like they're the source, even on a spiritual level. And then you think since it's something that you can't see and is above you, then that really is the source. When really it might just be something that's on the next level of life than you. So you have to understand that. A lot of times, be careful. Try to figure out the source. And even though the source is hard, even though you're not, and you're not going to find no source as a representation in the energy realm, as non-physical to physical, you're not going to find no history, time, lineage. So whatever time, lineage, old religion, Bible, book, or whatever that you want to cling to, I don't care how old it is, it's not it, because it was created by a spirit. And you need to understand spiritual truth, which is mysticism and mystical, and your mythology, the myth, your my story, what's true to you, and that's understanding spiritual truth, and that's dealing with more with imagination, creativity, and where your spirit came from, based upon what your imagination and individuality consists of. What kind of ideas do you have in general? That kind of give you a sense of where you came from, where your spirit came from. You can have a child, but your child could be older than you, and then on the flip side, ain't no telling where your spirit where that spirit came from, or what that spirit have done. So your ass trying to chastise your child in ways of indoctrination and shit like that is doing the wrong thing. You got to chastise your child the best way you can, because you brought that child here as your spirit. Can't be blaming. You can't be bringing kids here and then you're blaming it and trying to and pray to a Jesus or something like that. Then now how you gonna blame Jesus now? How's Jesus' fault? And you call yourself praying for your child? No, you brought so you understand your spirit and understand your own prayer and things of that nature, and understand what entities and things of that nature, and understand the source, because you may be that source may not even be where your child spirit is from. So just because your spirit is from that source, your child, you may be abundant. Jesus may be your source, or you may utilize that middleman as a source. But that source may be closer to where your spirit from than your child or someone around you. So you putting all your energy and putting out source onto your child, and then your child may get attacked in negative ways. And then you may think your child is rebelling against you, but it's really the spirit within your child trying to separate and detach from that hell, because what's a heaven to another person is a hell to another. Now this is also what you need to understand right here, when we're talking about this being in the energy. Now, in the energy, it don't matter. People get confused when they talk about right or wrong or good and bad. Light and dark, they're different things. There's different there's polar shifts to things. There's a polar shift to hate. People say, okay, there's love, then there's hate. No, there's love, and there's a world of love, and there's beings, and there's a hatred, wisdom, knowledge, reality in that world on its own. See what I'm saying? Same way as hate. When we try to compare things and conflate shit, that's just because the human is mixed up with so much shit. So we mix up so much shit because this is our way of perceiving reality. I don't agree with them terms and conditions, but humans in general. Now, for the most part, when we're talking about being in the energy, let's break it down. For an example, say, man, you just sitting back. I want to experience something new. You got to be in that energy. You can't be saying that, but experiencing the same shit every day. Get your ass up and drive to the store on the street that you never drove to that store on before, or that you don't do on a regular basis. Do little shit like that and make sure that's what your mind doing. And then what happens is your source and then cause friction with the realm source that you are in. And that creates portals and creates situations and circumstances that take shape and form of a person, place, or thing to play out as representations of what you're going through and what you're going to be doing and what portals you're going to be going through and what kind of information you're going to receive from that energy and how far you're going to go within that energy and how far and how much of that energy can you handle and how much of and the universe is going to be correlating all this shit and shit. You see what I'm saying? That's why the better you understand the source of the energy that you're tapping into, the better you know what you're doing. But if you're getting ruled by oversouls and shit like that, you're going to be a flunky. You're going to be running errands. You're going to be having to do a lot of experiences to obtain what you want at the end of the rainbow in whatever energy that you are in. You know what I'm saying? Because you are giving your authority to a source that's there, that's doing the same thing you doing, but since they was there before you, they might got a little bit more information, so they using you as a flunky, as an errand motherfucker. So they the boss on Mortal Kombat 1 video game, and you just the sub boss on there. But that don't mean these motherfuckers rule Mortal Kombat 3. Shao Kahn was the boss of Mortal Kombat 2 and 3. So just because you only aware of Shang Tsung, what that mean? That's what I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying? It's like levels to this shit. And with these, when you trying to correlate energies, the entities that's already there is going to see how much you can handle or not. Same way that's like jumping people in the game, or having a friend and seeing what they're capable of or not, or being in a relationship and seeing how much they can handle or not, and knowing how much you can put on to a person or not. This is how you start to develop your own spiritual nature and know how to not be too down on someone, or not be too you know what I'm saying, relaxed on someone. But at the same time, when we talk about the source, right? Well, fuck the source. Let's talk about the energy first, right? Now, say I want to be in the energy of experiencing newness. Now, there's a source to that. There was an actual being or spirit that brought an energy here first that represented newness. So since I want to experience that, right, I got to be in that energy. So now I got to feel like I'm experiencing something new, even if I'm not. And I got to start doing things new. And then that's going to correlate, like I said, the frictions is going to bounce back and forth and create circumstances and situations and portals that play out through people, places, and things that show out as information that you can obtain into what you wanted to experience from that energy that you're in. So once you once you start doing little shit like drive to the store in a different place every day or whatever like that, you start seeing new shit. You just start seeing shit even in the area where you at every day. You start seeing shit you never seen before. And little shit like that. And then that start to build and manifest to the point that you start actually experiencing a large amount of time and experiences in a new situation or a new experience. See what I'm saying? And depending on your ability to will it in existence, it might not be today, tomorrow, next week, or next month, or next year, but it's gonna come. But depending on your willpower is how fast or how long it takes to come. Same way, if you want to be in the energy of love, a lot of people be in the energy of judgment, be in the energy of practicality, be in the energy of hatred. You want to run around and be like, man, I don't never get no love, but you always in the energy of hatred. So you come up with all these logical ways of why a person in love may be getting taken advantage of. And yeah, you might make a lot of sense to this person. So you might even help them utilize a little bit of your energy signature to help their relationship better. But at the same time, in the initial state of it, in the behind the scenes realm, you're spiritually hating on them because they're in a relationship. And you just really want, you may hate on someone who's in that energy. You hate, everybody hate to a certain degree, hate on someone else that's in the energy that they want to be in, especially if you the type of person that it's hard for you to just be in the energy because you're unconsciously aware and you don't watch Archangel Uriel videos. You see what I'm saying? So you might be the so people, jealousy and envy come from a person being the representation of it, being in an energy field that a person want to be in. That's almost like you didn't get picked for the basketball game. Like, man, if I was a little bit taller, I wish I was a baller. I wish I was hey, Skilo, but you know what I'm saying? That's just like that video. You know what I'm saying? He's sitting back on the sideline like, damn, I ain't get picked for the video. I ain't get picked for the basketball game. So you just wanted to get picked and shit. So you're not in the game. You just want to get picked. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, It's because you got to be in the energy. You're not in the energy. Now, I'm not saying just because he probably wasn't in the energy. I was just making it to physical, you know what I'm saying, comparing it to physical terms. But for the most part, y'all get what I'm trying to say. As long as that you are in the energy, then you are able to start manifesting the law of attraction within that world. It's like going into a world. That's what you're doing. You're going into a world. Say you want to experience love, you got to be in that energy. So based upon how your planetary alignments is lined up and stuff like that, that's going to start bouncing the friction to see what you can handle and what you can, and how far you can go, and to see if you can find the source of, find Waldo, or can't find Waldo, find the source of that intellectual property or not. You know what I'm saying? That's on you. Or you may be satisfied within one spot. You may build a house in that world and build a home there and never want to leave there. And then you may be in a Pacific city or state that's ruled by a Pacific government, and their laws about that world is in that way, and you may be dissatisfied with that. You may not be a traveler in that world, and you may be still cool. That's all good, fine, and dandy, if y'all get what I'm trying to say. But still, at the same time, still try to figure out the source. You know what I'm saying? Still try to figure out who's backing the government in that world. Who's backing the elites in that world. So you can understand the source, so you can know how you could become that. You could become the president in that world. You could become the shit in that world. Y'all get what I'm trying to say? You gotta be in the motherfucking energy. So if you want people to relate to you in some type of way, you gotta be in that relatable energy. You can't be always disgruntled and shit like that, like nobody relate to me, but you're not in the... Now, based upon your planetary alignment, you're gonna start manifesting the situation. So you're gonna start seeing the information and what it takes to hurdle and jump rope and live in that world. You're gonna start to see if you're hated in that world, if you liked in that world or not, based upon your elements and your alchemist system. You see what I'm saying? You're gonna be able to see that, and it's gonna play out in your life as in circumstances and situations as rejection, sometimes success, sometimes obstacles, sometimes seeing how far you can handle, how much you can't, and based upon how much you're willing to stand strong and develop and want to see the end of the rainbow and to see if the source is even for you or not. That depends on how strong a motherfucking spirit is. And if an individual spirit is a soul, they have a big source, they become very popular in that world and shit like that. If it's a small source, a small soul, then they become followers in that world and shit like that, and become satisfied with just living in one house and shit like that, and being a motherfucker worker and a fucking a mundane ass, regular ass person the same way in the physical world. In that world. So that's actually what being in the energy. So when people want to say in the spirit or in the shit like that, this, that, and they don't know what the fuck they talk about, especially religious people. So a religious person to say they're in something and they're in the body of it and they're in those laws and they're in that world. So you have to be careful. They're carrying out those duties and obligations. And that may not be the world that you need to visit. That may not be a city or state you need to visit in the astral realm. You know what I'm saying? You may not be from that country. So they're speaking a whole nother language. Especially when they get to speak in tongues. Flight boss, bitch. Goddamn air.